And welcome to Monday Motivator. My name is Paul Tobey. Thank you for joining me this morning. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. And obviously, for most of us who are members of That's Ambitious, I want to say thank you for taking the time to spend a few minutes with me. Monday Motivator is our tradition here at That's Ambitious. We've been doing it for some time now. And it is our way of kicking off the week with a great amount of energy. Today's topic is the power of choice. And I really had the opportunity over the weekend to spend some time watching other people's presentations, some things that I found on YouTube, some things that were sent to me, just a good amount of study instead of maybe watching just television. I think it's important that we continue to learn, and as always, I'm a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. So I did reflect on this subject over the weekend, and I did get some inspiration from other people. I also did some reading as well, and that will play a little bit into today's topic. This is really not necessarily new, but just a different perspective on how to look at things. Andrew and Ramona, thank you for being here. Any questions that you have while we're going through it, please dive in, because the topic is important, but not always the easiest thing to internalize or comprehend. So let's get going. So let's start from the basic premise that energy is everything. Those of you that have spent any time with me recognize this saying. And so if energy is everything, the choices that you make are also derived from energy. So the choice that you and the decisions that you make are chosen from a position of fear or faith. And what does that mean? It means that if we make a life-altering decision, one that we make ourselves, it moves us down the path of faith, saying, I believe that this choice that I'm making will create some type of measurable result in my life so that I can live my best life. Or you choose from a position of fear, meaning that you're forced into a choice that you didn't want to make in the first place. So if you give away your power to others by letting them choose, you are depriving yourself of vital life energy. And we're going to talk about this a little bit, because I think many of us believe that we do make our own decisions when in most cases we're not making them at all ourselves. So let's back up a little. I want you first to just envision the best version of you. I know that in the past I've showed you the dock looking out over the water and the mountains in the background, which I love that picture. We use it often in That's Ambitious, and we talk about, well, what do you want to do, be, or have in your life that you don't have right now? What I want you to do instead a little bit is envision yourself as the best version of you in your life. That's not always the easiest thing to do, but I'm sure there's consistency in your thought. The thought that says, well, I envision myself being more of a leader in a specific situation or a group of situations. I envision myself serving humanity in a much bigger capacity. I envision myself in this particular environment. So just take a moment and take a snapshot of the vision of your life as the best version of you. So my question, or here's what I'm trying to get at. If you're not that version of yourself now, why is that? And it's likely because you've unconsciously let others make decisions for you. So why do we let others make decisions for us? First one is out of obligation, or fear, or perhaps guilt or doubt. An example of this is because others are more qualified, are unconscious non-awareness believes that we should just take other people's word for it. For example, many of us who know very little about the traditional healthcare system will go into a situation where they just believe and will do whatever their doctors will say. When, in my experience, what they say, how they say it, and the information that they give you is based on their training, not the total sum training of what a doctor might get if they approached it from many different angles, like natural therapies or health consciousness. So what happens in life is we tend to acquiesce to the direction and decisions of other people, whether we believe that we're doing that or not. And when we do this, we're giving away our power to other people. And this is one of the big mistakes of our lives, is we tend to acquiesce to the decisions of other people, meaning we're taking our entire intrinsic motivation and energy and life force and we're giving it away to other people, whether we realize it or not. Is it too late to take back your power? Of course not. It's never too late. But how do you actually do this? So I've spoken a little bit about this before. It's never an easy thing to just decide that you're going to take back all of your power. But the first step would be pick the path that leads to your best life. So go back a moment and envision the best version of yourself. And choose the first step on the path that leads to that vision, the vision of your best self in your best life. And that's very difficult for most people. It would be mostly fear and doubt, guilt and unworthiness that would block us from making that choice. But if you do make it, then all you have to do is, you don't have to know whether it's the correct decision or not. You only have to know that you're the one that made it. And once the decision is made, then use the 3 resistances in a row rule to decide whether you continue on that path or whether you sidestep to an alternate or perhaps parallel path that's a little bit different than the one that you've initially chosen. If you do this, what you'll find is sooner rather than later, you'll start to see breadcrumbs of evidence that you have chosen the correct path. There'll be situations, circumstances, unbelievable occurrences that are seemingly not obvious or just coincidence, but they will seem like they were meant to happen. And that's what happens when you take back your power and you make your own decisions. So use the 3 resistances in a row rule, and that should help guide you. Every decision that you make, by the way, is just another decision. It's decision meaning you're cutting off choice and making it in the moment, and you're actually making it yourself. It's like an incision or decision that basically says, at this moment, I choose to do this. And many people are blocked from that choice. So I hope that makes sense. And the last thing I have to say is, will you choose the path that leads to the vision of your best life? What will you choose? Will you choose to make those decisions yourself, or will you choose to be subject to the decisions of other people? And that's my thoughts on Monday Motivator this morning. Maybe a little too deep for a Monday, but I like starting there. It's like, why not kick the week off with something you can start thinking about on a constant basis? Be the silent watcher on your decisions and your choices for your best life. So based on that, I can do a quick review if you like, or I can just answer any questions and we can get into a little discussion about this topic. So Greg says, powerful and personal to me today, Paul. Well, thank you. You're very welcome, Greg. Thanks for listening. I did have the opportunity, like I say, to think about this quite a bit over the weekend as I begin to make some pretty important life decisions for myself in living my best life. One of the things that I've personally decided to do is I'm trying to move towards less service from a one-on-one client basis to more of a That's Ambitious approach, not just with That's Ambitious, but also with Jazz Mental, just trying to get to the point where there's an equilibrium between me creating my own reality and choosing my timelines more than being guided by obligation, if that makes sense. Andrew says, I think that choice is the most amazing power we have. It is, if you make those choices based on your own personal power, the power and the energy that comes from within, and not having those choices overridden by duty and obligation. Not that duty and obligation is a bad thing. It's not. It's just, are the choices that you're making leading to the best life? Andrew says, I think that much depends on our reference point, what we believe. One of the most important things to ask ourselves is, how do we know what we believe is true? I think I understand the statement. I think truth for many people is very subjective. I would say that physical manifestation into reality is something that we can all look to as the proof of truth. So that's an important thought, I think. Andrew says, there's a woman named Byron Katie, and she has a worksheet that I really find helpful. Oh, great. Thanks for sharing that with us. I will definitely check that out. So I've opened it. It's basically, what do we got here? Cool. All right. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing. I appreciate that. Are there any other questions or comments about today's topic? Or, of course, anything else that you want to talk about is up to you. Plenty of time left. We usually go till about 10:30. Green tea for anybody that wants to know what I'm drinking. So Greg says, I believe we tend to get in our way regularly. I can find the stairs and believe my best life is at the top of the stairs, but I still need the will to ascend them. I think in that comment, the thing that I would interject or add to that comment is, where does will come from? So many people say, I hope I can retire. I hope one day that I can get married and have kids. I hope one day that I can have a great job. I hope one day that I can build a business. I hope one day that I'll be monetarily successful. I hope one day I'll be rich. I think changing hope to will, I will be married and have kids. I will have a great life. I will be a great speaker. I will get to the top of the stairs. So will, the energy within the word will is, all you have to do to make it a better will is to envision your best life. I will create this best version of myself. Unfortunately, lacking that energy, that life force, that power that you have within you to choose, because most of the decisions that you've made have been forced onto you by other people, not the least of which is parents, teachers, guides, colleagues, clients, government, whatever, you have to have that best vision of yourself in order to create the will to ascend. Jillian says, how do you really know you made the right decision? and we've talked about this many times, Jillian. My belief system these days is there is no right decision. There is a decision. It's neither right nor wrong. You make it, and when you make it, does it turn into measurable results that are the best version of your life that you can envision? So, for example, I've recently been confronted with the opportunity to take on new business. I have basically 3 criteria. 1, can I actually help this person or this company? Can I create measurable results for them? That's number 1. Have I done it before? Do I have the experience? Am I taking on something that I have no business taking on? So 1, can I create measurable results? 2, do I actually like them? So liking them has nothing to do with whether it's a right or wrong decision. It's just a matter of intuition that says, I will let myself be guided by someone who really wants to work with likable people. And then the third thing is, do they have the ability to pay? If I make a decision based on those 3 things, I still don't know if that's the right decision or not, because there is no right. The only thing that I can do is make the decision based on those criteria, move forward, and then if I get 3 big resistances in a row, I know then that I've probably not made the wrong decision. It was a learning experience. Should I keep going and modify the relationship, or should I turn back and take another path? So it wasn't a wrong decision. It was just life saying, you need to experience this so that you can be better prepared for the bigger decisions to come. I hope that answers your question, Jillian. Andrew says, do you need the will to get to the top step or just the will to get to the next step? Interesting question. Life is a journey. We take one step at a time. I believe that a journey of 1,000,000 steps starts with step 1. Step 1, for example, if you take the road to Santiago, or the Camino de Santiago as it's referred to, that is about 1,000,000 steps. Probably quite a bit more than that if you walk to the coast, but it's about 1,000,000 steps. The decision to take that first step is not just simply a matter of taking it. There is considerations before that first step is taken, such as, how am I going to get to the Pyrenees Mountains? How long do I need to take that journey of 1,000,000 steps? Can I carve that time out of my life? So it's easy to say take one step at a time, and I think Brian Clemmer wrote a book, How to Eat an Elephant, and the answer is one bite at a time. The challenge is always, is that first step motivated by living your best life, seeking that best life? And can you measure or calculate the investment in that step, which eventually, of course, will lead to the 1,000,000 steps? Interesting topic, I find, this morning. I hope you're enjoying it. We are currently at the 20-minute mark. If there's any other questions, I would love to take them, or comments, of course, which many of you have done, so thank you for doing that. Otherwise, we'll let you to it, so let me know. I'll wait a couple more minutes. Well, it seems like there are no more comments or questions, so I think that'll do it for today's Monday Motivator. I hope you got something out of that. Of course, as always, This presentation and discussion will be posted in the video area of That's Ambitious members Facebook group. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope that it was helpful to you. I will that it was helpful to you. Get out there, be ambitious, and I'll see everybody on Thursday's presentation at 10 a.m. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have a great day. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, go subscribe to the channel, and get out there and be ambitious.